I think we could all agree that superpowers are cool. It's the main reason why you came to this channel. A lot of your favorite characters have superpowers. I think they're really cool. What a crazy statement to say. Something that's very controversial, I know. But with all the stupidness aside, who wouldn't want to have like a massive glow up just by having powers? Peter Parker, his entire life was saved by that spider bite. That is crazy, bro. The amount of riz this man got overnight just by being muscular and being a bit in shape. Sensational. But the problem with superpowers in general, from what I've seen, is that there's pros and there are cons, right? The pros, what could it be? I don't know. Maybe I'm too lazy to reach the remote. I'm gonna stretch my hand like Mr. Fantastic. Oh, there's this giant thing that needs to be lifted. I got the power of a Kryptonian. But now the reason why I think it's kind of an issue is that I do not want my biology changed. I like being a human. And I don't really want to deal with the consequences of having to hold back. Spider-Man, his entire life and the way he sees things is different because anything he could do, any minor altercation that he's in, he could end up killing somebody. The Hulk, I do not want to be a giant muscle-bound gamma-fueled monster who could lose his mind at any time just so that I could have immortality. That is not a good trade-off. Yes, I would like to teleport somewhere so that I don't have to be late for wherever I'm going, but I do not want to look like a mini devil. Nightcrawler, I'm looking at you. How is the most saint Christian man there is, Catholic, end up looking like a demon, bro? You got the RNG was just not on your side, but hey, at least it leads to a very interesting paradoxical dynamic where it's like, how is the most angelic person in terms of personality look like a demon? That's really cool. Nightcrawler, you're one of my favorite characters, but Glaive session aside, this is where the superhero weapons come in. The greatest, coolest weapons there are from these franchises. Superhero weapons, in my opinion, are just some of the most creative, dynamic things there are in fiction. It allows me to have my cake and eat it too because I have all the abilities, the powers of a metahuman, while still being able to take it off or move it away or whatever at the end of the day. At most, these weapons could change my biology, but they also end up having some sort of illusion or shape-shifting ability that kind of negates all of those negative effects. And to bring your attention to a poll that I did like 3-ish weeks ago, I asked you guys, and I quote, I don't know why I'm saying this like it's entrenched or something, but I said this: you get to bring one weapon into the real world. Which one are you choosing? All limits, rules, and risks apply. So a lot of people in this poll chose the lantern ring, which makes sense. I would choose it too, with second being the Omnitrix. Now, a lot of you guys didn't know that all of these are bad. Like literally, these are some of the worst ones you could choose. And I did this on purpose to see where everybody's mind was at, because the lantern ring, I could tell you for a fact, most of the people here will not have any amount of sufficient emotion to operate any of these rings. I know a lot of people are like, I have a lot of rage. Guess what, you bum. If you have the rage ability, the lantern ring itself, you are going to be mindless. You're not going to have any autonomy over your bodily functions. You are going to be at the whims, the control of Atrocitus. Unless you go into the lake or blood of Usmalt, which you're not going to be able to because Atrocitus doesn't see you like that. You are not even going to be a side character. You are going to be a background PNG. Who do you think you are? You think you're going to be buddy-buddy with Atrocitus? Get that out of here, bruh. But anyways, the Omnitrix was the second pick. And a lot of you guys realize that I set you up. If the Omnitrix is brought onto the real world with all the strings attached, what aliens are going to be in its database? All you could really do is like scan the nearest human and become the ultimate human. Like, what is that going to do to you? Will you become Arnold Schwarzenegger? I don't know, but it doesn't seem all that worthwhile. But I will be talking about all of these weapons in this video with no strings attached. It's going to be what you see is what you get, and we're going to assume that everybody that gets these weapons, you included, and me, yes, we are a duo, we will be able to operate it in the most smooth way possible. The instructions will be downloaded into all of our minds, and we will be just fine and dandy. All of this is going to be my list, and just to preface, these aren't going to be the most powerful weapons there are. It's just going to be my favorites, and a lot of the times, there's going to be some overlap, right? But yeah, let's get straight to it. I think a lot of people really downplay how cool the Green Lantern ring really is. I know in a very isolated context, people are like, oh, that's the coolest superhero ever. I would want to make so many cool lantern constructs. But once you start pairing it with the other lantern rings, people start seeing the Green Lantern ring as garbage. And I'm like, you know what? Just because it's the base doesn't mean it doesn't have utility. In fact, since it is the base, willpower is the center of the emotional spectrum. It doesn't have mind-altering effects. Your will is all your own. If you're too far onto the right, on like the violet spectrum, you can be influenced by love, and then your mind gets all crazed. Look at Star Sapphire and Carol Ferris. She's became a Green Lantern villain more times than not. If you look at the Red Lanterns and the Orange Lanterns, they are controlled so heavily by their emotions that they can't really act without it. So that's why being a Green Lantern is probably the best. On top of that, their constructs, just like I guess the Yellow Lanterns, are among the best. If we look at Kyle Rayner, he can create entire pinball machines, put you in that, and just slap you around, and there's nothing you can do about that. If you want to create an entire boy band of Green Lanterns, you can duplicate that ring. If you want to materialize any type of drip that you want, the ring can make it happen. If you're lonely, guess what? There is an artificial intelligence that can talk to you, that can decode all types of languages. You can speak any language that you want because of the ring. The charisma opportunities are actually endless. On top of that, if you have a good enough ring, that AI can actually become sentient and start talking and giving you so many different opportunities to do crazy techniques. You can fly past the speed of light. You can use wormholes to send you across space and time in half that distance. You can absorb energy, all types of energy that you might want. You can create force fields, go invisible, intangible. On top of that, you can time travel. You even have telepathic abilities. You can go into the minds of your enemies to get rid of certain memories, to implant certain memories, to scan their brains, to build up your own mental defenses. There's even a pocket dimension where you can store your enemies in there, or you can put yourself in that pocket dimension to keep yourself safe. If you're on the brink of death, you can put yourself in the ring and you will be sustained for that period of time, and there will be a homing beacon that goes off so your fellow Green Lanterns can come and save you. And unlike any other ring, it's will empowerment. What your will can conceive, it will create. No matter what outcome that you want, you can push it to the brink. You are literally your own biggest drawback, because if you have enough will, you can destroy a being made out of pure will. You can become pure will itself and detonate. On top of that, if we look at how Jordan's ring, it literally becomes a genie in a bottle. If you can will it, it will happen. He has created a shrink ray with his ring, literally shrinking down his enemies. He can actually do an evolutionary wind back ability, making the creatures that you're fighting go back into less dangerous creatures, literally rewind the clock on you. If he is stronger than that person, he can will them back. Yes, that might not work on somebody like Darkseid or people of that caliber, but he can do it. The only thing stopping him back is ethical concerns. These rings are stronger than you might think. On their best day, they are the strongest ring there is other than a white or black lantern ring. In fact, if your will is strong enough, you can charge up your ring so you don't have to charge it. If you are anywhere near the vicinity of a blue lantern, it's literally wrapped. Just call it quits. Your ring is now at 200%. I told you, these guys are mad underrated. The Omnitrix or the Ultimatrix, which one should I talk about? Let's talk about this in Pokemon standards. Do I like Pokemon still after my Nuzlocke? I don't okay. Base or evolution? What should I do? You know what? Let's talk about both of them and combine it together. So, the thing about the Omnitrix, which is really cool in my opinion, is that it has all of the what's it called? The evolution aspect of changing your biology, but you're able to go back. That's what I wish it would be like with the Hulk. Yes, I'm able to go back into Bruce Banner, but do I want to be traumatized 24/7? You know what I mean? And obviously, it's going to be the best one. We're going to keep the master control code in that because nobody wants to be limited to 10 aliens. It's the most on-the-nose meta way to do something like, yeah, his name is Tennyson, 10 aliens. I guess it fits a theme song, but the best aliens there are. What are your favorite aliens, actually? We've got Alien X, reality warping, time manipulation, anything that you might want. But the problem is that you need a bunch of alien gods to dictate if you walk the walk, right? They might just freeze you up right there and then you just can't be that guy anymore because you're just a statue. Might as well plop you into a museum. And then we got way big, gigantic size, cosmic rays. We got Upgrade. I love Upgrade. He's basically Venom, but just more technological. Anytime it's playable in a Ben 10 video game, he was my main. Just like that. Imagine becoming a tank, infusing yourself with a motorcycle and turning it into something from Tron. That's just sick. Accelerate. Not only is it a good play on words, I'm basically Wally West. I'm kind of glazing, not really. Feedback. Echo, echo. Echo, echo. I just love the voice. I'm gonna be honest. Every time he said echo, echo, that tickled something within me. I felt like my joy was coming back every single time I hear that voice line. Is it just me? I don't know. Put some Big Chill in there so I can create some ice cubes in my drink? Say less. On top of all of that, if I want to fly, he has wings, right? If I want to turn into a giant wheel and spin around the city, Sonic the Hedgehog style, Cannonball is right there for the taking. And while all of this is cool and all, one of the greatest features of the Omnitrix is that there is a death sense kind of feature. Whenever you are in peril, it will switch to the best alien for the job. If there's any sort of radiation happening here, I'm going to switch. If there's a water park, I'm gonna switch. You feel me? Like, this is the best thing about it, is that it has an artificial intelligence on some Green Lantern. I would trick this thing out just so that it could maintain my happiness. The Ultimatrix, all the evolutionary forms, you got like Ultimate Humongosaur, who has like giant guns on his wrist for some reason. We got Ultimate Spider Monkey. If I ever want to be Scarlet Spider-Man Kane, that's my guy. I just gave you guys some ball knowledge. Read Scarlet Spider 2012 by Christopher Yost. It is some good eats, okay? But it also allows me to segue to something that I'm probably never going to be able to talk about again, and that pains me, and that is Dial H for Hero, the DC predecessor to Ben 10. It's kind of like an RNG wheel. If you put in hero in the phone number booth looking thing, it will turn you into a random hero. Sometimes it might actually take the abilities of a hero in real life. And when I mean real life, I mean in the book. One time, it got the Flash's ability stolen and gave it to the user of the dial. How broken is that? I can become a Speed Force user off of this one doohickey. But the coolest thing about it is, if you're an art fan at all, this might give a lot of people in the vicinity a heart attack, but it changes the art style of not only you, but kind of the surrounding environment. Dial H for Hero 2019 plays this off the best, and it makes you become characters like Jobu the Zonky King. I had to make a double take on my head because I have no clue what I just said, but this is a Dragon Ball reference waiting for you guys to feast your eyes on it. Then we got like Monster Truck, who is the combination of everything 90s, right? Rob Liefeld wishes he can create anything as meticulously beautiful as this. To even like Alien Ice Cream Man or Change Chimp on some like Sin City type beat, this is all for you. You can become all of this. Every single thing is like its own power. And look at the art switch, and you keep your personality too. It's beautiful. Sometimes there might be some sort of switch between how you act. It's going to influence you a bit. You're still going to be a hero. Its name is there for a reason. It's like having Legion's abilities, except all of the schizophrenia and the DID is out of the window. I don't have to rely on me switching personas and alters for me to gain the ability to reality warp or to become a three-dimensional shape that somehow has a multiverse inside of it. There's so many possibilities with weapons like these, and that's honestly why I love it so much. You can do anything and then go back to normal. It's a win-win. Now we have the Necro Sword. Now the Necro Sword is really cool because it's essentially pure darkness given into a sword form. I was going to put the ebony blade on here, which is really cool, but this is just so much better, except for the fact that it kind of messes with your will. But let's just say I'm Dylan Brock for a second, okay? Let me have some sauce real quick, and we'll be just fine. But there are two versions of the Necro Blade. Post-nerf, right? And pre-celestial nerf. So let's talk about it normally, right? All of the abilities that it has, which if you don't know, it's basically symbiote abilities, except now you have the power to kill celestials. You can become a god killer straight off rip. Not that you'll ever need that, but if you do, it's there for you. You have superhuman strength, durability, speed, reflexes, longevity. You'll live for 3,000 plus years, maybe more. Regeneration. You're not going to die. You're able to create anything you want. Clothes, armor, wings, weapons, tendrils. All types of weaponry that you might want, but all you'll ever need to do is create a sword or two. Bars. And if you ever want to manipulate dark matter for any reason, you got it. You can shoot beams of it. It looks like purple energy, and it could allow you to tango with people with the power cosmic. Silver Surfer, you are now on the chopping block. You have nowhere to go. And if you're feeling lonely, you even got the ability to create minions of your own called Black Berserkers, your own little symbiotes that can do your own bidding. So you don't even have to fight people with the sword, which is really cool. You can send other people to have the smoke for you. You can be as lazy as you want because you are now that guy. And if you're Dylan Brock, you have an ability called Chain Breaker. Now, Null created something called the Symbiote Hive Mind. It's this really weird multiversal spanning dimension that connects all the symbiotes to Null or whoever the King in Black is, or whoever has the All Blade. And if you're Dylan, you now have a King in Black form called Codex. It allows you to destroy the codex of other symbiotes, cutting them off from the hive mind and making them powerless. So if you get hit by this, It's kind of like your gold kryptonite. You are done, but only for a short amount of time because prolonged use of this transformation actually leads to a lot of pain and possibly even death. And if Dylan is experiencing this, who is half symbiote, half human, imagine the damage that it would cause to a full human. And when it comes to pre-celestial nerf Necroblade, it is fire, right? It was connected to a headless celestial that of course he decapitated. This is the power of that sword. And this connection, the severed head, it supplies you with power. Think of Gore. He was a mortal and now he's able to become a god. Think of it as your home base and your ability to get a lot of supplies. In effect, it was its own afterlife. And through this, it was able to take a bunch of souls of the people killed by the Necro Sword, which made it sort of like a kill streak from Call of Duty. If your KD is good enough, the stronger you will become. And that's just a cool feature to have, because it just allows you to continuously pop off. But unfortunately, the Valkyries, these ops, they made sure to destroy the connection, so it greatly weakened not only the blade, but any sort of vast potential that it may have in the future. But still, it is greatly powerful and very versatile. It's a symbiote, plus more. What more could you want? K7 Letha, or if you're a nerd, Letha of the 7th House of K. That is the suit that Spawn wears, and this thing, it's a necroplasm-based suit, because, you know, once you're a Hellspawn, you need to look kind of fresh. It sounds really cool on paper because of all the cool stuff it can do. Oh, I got chains, oh, I got spikes, oh, I got this really cool cape. Actually, not even really cool, this is the best cape in comics. You can do all these crazy stuff, plus, there's a dimension within that cape. Plus, you can fly, turn invisible, shapeshift into literally anything that you want. Summon all types of hellish aspects from like anything your measly human brain can comprehend as something coming from hell, like even claws capable of destroying bone with a touch. You could do anything that you want. If you want to look like a bat, you could adhere yourself to the top of the wall and create a bat shape with your cape. Be Batman if you want to, but with powers. But the problem with all of this is, yes, while it does have all of these cool abilities, yes, it could self-fight for you. If you're knocked out or something, it will act like a symbiote and fight while you're sleeping. Spectacular Spider-Man, watch the entire Venom arc. I'm telling you, it's really good, and it's exactly a description of what I'm saying here. I can't put it in front of you as a visual. I know I'm yapping a bit too much, but yes, watch that, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The issue that I came across is that it is a literal parasite. To sustain its power, it has to feed off of not only your necroplasm, which you do have in abundance because you are a Hellspawn, but it's a neural parasite. It feeds off of the remnants of your spinal fluid and your neurochemicals, the stuff in your brain, and throughout your entire central nervous system. It's connected to your nervous system, and it can't be taken off. Yes, it does kind of break the little rule that I had before where it's like, if it doesn't mess with your biology, it's a really good weapon, but you have illusion-based abilities. You can actually illusion and shapeshift yourself so that it's not a problem. So there are ways out of this, but now that I'm thinking about it, this kind of sucks, and if it uses too much of your necroplasm, you're going to go straight to hell, and then you're going to have to talk to Malbosia, and nobody wants to deal with their boss. Imagine like doing your work and then your boss calls you up to do more work. Like, why would you want to ever have that? Maybe being a Ghost Rider is better. I know the chain itself, I couldn't have even talked about that, because if I had it and I wasn't a Ghost Rider, I would just be burning my hand. That is too many stuff for me to need just so that I could have that chain. I have to be a Spirit of Vengeance, plus I have to own a chain of that length. Good luck with that. I will never have that, but there is an idea that I have. Luckily for you, your boy does not come empty-handed, and I have an alternative just for us to use, and that is the darkness. This is going to be one of the few times that I get to talk about Jackie Estacado, and not even that much, because I'm going to be talking about the powers that he has, which is the darkness. I was going to say the Witchblade because that is way more popular, but I'm not that feminine. I'm sorry, but the darkness, what is really cool about this is that it basically gives you all the powers of a symbiote or a K7 Letha, strength, speed, durability, reflexes, but without all the negative side effects, and even more. If I'm thirsty, using the suit, I can create water. Not that that's a big deal or anything, because I'm sure you guys could go to your, I don't know, local, whatever, Dunkin' Donuts and get some free water there. But some people are like, ask for some water, get a cup, and then go and put some Coke in it. I know you guys, I know the strats. Don't pretend like we all don't do it, okay? Some of you guys are gonna be like, what? Why would you ever? Come on, please. But we also got flight. We can create wings and soar through the air. The suit gives us regeneration to the point that we can regenerate from just our jaw. You know how good that healing factor is? If we want to activate our inner wheelbarrow, we can create swords to any length that we want, knives, even functional grenades and guns. These guns look like extra dimensional weapons that you will never see in your lifetime created, but we could also create Desert Eagles. There is no amount of creativity limitations that will stop you from accessing the drip. If somebody is going a bit too hard on you, you could form a shield. You can create complete body duplicates of yourself and other people that are completely identical. Nobody will ever know the difference. And similar to Null, you can even create your own army of Darklings, right? You have your own group, your gang that you created, but these are just a bunch of glorious dancing imps that are kind of chaotic, but do whatever you want. They have flying ones, you have giant roaches. We could even transform the vehicles that we're in into Darklings, kind of like how Ghost Rider infuses his Hellfire into his motorcycle. Furthermore, these creatures that we create aren't limited in size. There is no limitation. We can create a giant snake, we can create, I don't know, a kraken, we can create a giant centipede, a giant demon. I'm sure we could even create Godzilla or King Kong if we put our mind to it. The only weakness of this suit is that it cannot handle any sort of daylight. As soon as daylight comes, as the name suggests, the darkness, it will go away. So you're kind of limited to vampire status for the most part if you're trying to use your abilities. Other than that, you'll just go back to being a normal human, and that's fine. Just find a shaded space and you'll be good. Go under a tree and you'll be able to fight with your ops. I'm telling you, this is the method. I know a lot of you guys are already night goblins, so is there really a difference? Now, I am fully well aware that this is purely a nostalgia pick, but Blade and his glaives are some of the coolest things that I've ever seen in my life. And if you don't know what that glaive is, it's a very interesting tool that he uses in the very first Wesley Snipes Blade movie that looks like a shuriken, but it's kind of like weights, right? It's very heavy, and it doesn't look aerodynamic at all, but he throws it, it comes back to him, it kills vampires, and it looks stylish. And the amount of sauce that this man had, he looks like a little goofy guy, but as soon as he throws that blade, you realize that it was laced in garlic and was made out of silver, and its speed blitzes the hell out of vampires. And I'm going to be so honest, as soon as I see these things in other television shows, movies, or video games, I get so hyped. The theme song starts playing in my head, the little dude, I am going to be the most annoying person for the next 2 weeks. Marvel Rivals, why did you make that Blade's theme song? It's going to be stuck in my head, and I am sorry for the person that I'm about to become every single day of the week. But man, Blade, they need to get on this movie, bro. I'm telling you, Marvel has been actually kind of throwing the bag away lately because Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, while both of them are really good movies, and Fantastic Four had a great start in the box office, both of them are falling off supremely fast. And Blade, everybody loves Blade. Marvel haters love Blade. The Blade video game better come out. This guy can save your franchise twice, I'm telling you. Because obviously Spider-Man is going to do well, but once I see these shurikens being thrown on the big screen, I'll know that we're finally back. And this wasn't even my first comic book movie, far from it, but that one scene in the nightclub with the music, with him going after everybody, clearing out the whole room, all the vampires draped in blood. That has been stuck in my memory since I was a kid. Granted, should I have been watching it? Probably not. But man, was that legendary, iconic stuff. Even though I will admit, the way I'm carrying on, it does seem like it was, but Spider-Man 2 actually was my first comic book film. Let me know yours down in the comments section down below. You guys like the engagement? I know you would. As I've been making this video, I've been thinking to myself, should I have Iron Man's armor and Thor's hammer on this list? It's like one of the no-brainers, but I'm like, this is my list. I can do whatever I want. You guys have no control over me. I'm telling you, but Iron Man was a very devious pick, I would say, because it can do a lot of things. And Thor's hammer, yes, it has a lot of really cool abilities. I don't want to lug a hammer around with me all the time. Yes, I could snatch that to my belt and become all snatched and... No, I don't want that. What I do want is Doctor Doom's armor. It does everything that Iron Man's armor does for the most part and more. And on top of that, it guarantees that I will have max level plot armor and nobody will judge me at all. The thing about Doctor Doom is that he can do the most outrageous, heinous, out-of-pocket, random, out-of-left field thing, and nobody will complain because he has aura and hype moments. And on top of that, sprinkle in some good writing, and we have a complete defensive shield that nobody will fight against. And that's what I want. All the physical stat boosts that you would want, the flight as well, the energy blast, the force field. Heck, I even have a finger gun. I just have to point at somebody and they're gone. Granted, it's not the most powerful weapon there is, but I can beam somebody from across the street with me pointing at them and they'll never know what's coming. I sound like a complete supervillain. I would never do this, by the way, but if I was a villain, I would have the most devious plans on my side and no one would be able to stop me. What I would do is that I would use the illusion, hallucination, whatever it's called, the hologram system of the suit, make myself look like a random person, beam somebody by pointing and nobody will know because I'm able to make it so only certain visions of light or whatever will be able to see it, okay? If you don't have infrared or whatever type of blah 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 vision, you won't be able to see it, and then I'll just go about my business. And if I miraculously get caught, I'm just going to run away and hologram myself into looking like somebody else. I'm going to make myself look like Iron Man so that I can come off completely clean. Maybe even Reed Richards because I hate the guy so much, and I try to frame him as somebody with a finger beam. That's a go-to plan. On top of that, the suit has a recycling system, which can somebody let me know the science behind this because this seems very vile and nasty. But what this thing does is that it is a self-supporting system. It's equipped with internal stores, recycling systems with air, food, water, and energy. It allows the wearer to survive lengthy periods of time underwater, in outer space, whatever. And it even, I'm pretty sure, does the washroom, bathroom thing for you and recycles it, moves it around so that it will be fine. You don't have to deal with it. You're fine, good, dandy, boop, bop, beep, bop, pow. We're good. But if I'm going to be completely honest, I do not like that in the slightest. I am going to turn off that system as soon as I can. On top of that, you can become your greatest superhero. If you want to be Superman, guess what? We have solar energy absorption, so we could be a plant if we want to. Photosynthesis do be looking kind of good these days. Then on top of that, if I want to be Aquaman, there is a torpedo hurling system. What this does, it makes you go through the water as if you were a torpedo, as the name does suggest. We have the refrigerator system. No, you don't put your food in there. You're able to turn things into ice. There's a sonic drill. We can become, I don't know, Banshee, and then put our hand there and drill through the earth using supersonics. We have a stun shocker. I don't want to be a bum like Shocker, but it does get the job done. We got mini micro missiles. We got blades. We got a gun on our wrist so that they know that we're strapped. I don't know what else we need. I'm sure we got fire. We got an energy fist to mimic Iron Fist, kinda. And to top it all off, we got a splinter of the true cross, right? And Doom claims, this has never really been completely shown, but this gives him true defenses against undead enemies, against vampires, against anything unholy. You are cooked. I am sorry to tell you, but knowing Doom and his time travel capabilities, being able to go back and forth, and even doing some crazy stuff with the Marquis of Death, yeah, it is possible, very much so. I would not feel qualified in the slightest to doubt Doom's abilities. So what he says goes, as is in Latveria. And honestly, do you guys believe that he is a good ruler for Latveria and the world? Latveria makes sense, but like if we put him in place as the supreme ruler of the planet Earth, would he do a good job? Because I just gave you my whole detailed Reed Richards hating scheme off the top of my head, knowing that Doom would do something as petty, if not worse. Would you trust somebody of that caliber of hatred? I wouldn't personally, but let me know in the comments down below. A very underrated weapon that gets dismissed a lot by the superhero community is one of my favorites, and it really should be given more attention, and that is the Blue Beetle Scarab. Now, what I really love about this the most is that it really is a combination between the Venom symbiote and the Iron Man armor. Granted, if I get a normal Scarab, I'm going to be turned into a sleeper cell who then has to take over the world for the Reach. Thankfully, I will be taking Jaime Reyes' Scarab because that one not only has AI damage, it now allows me to kind of control it on my own will, okay? I'm not going to have an AI trying to take over my body unless it really needs to happen so that they could defeat the enemy. I don't want to say that they're peaceful because they're always ready to throw hands, but the thing about the Blue Beetle Scarab is that it's able to meet all of your technological, sensory, weapon, and armor needs, even environmental needs, so that you could defeat anything that comes across your way. Just shapeshift into what you want, and it will get the job done. It even covers your restroom needs. I've said it before with Dr. Doom. You do not have to use the washroom anymore. How convenient and vile and gross is that? You tell me, but the greatest thing about it, in my opinion, is the adaptability to do whatever it needs to. It has a translation system similar to the Green Lantern Corps, right? If you don't want to learn a language, it's got you covered. Your own Duolingo plan just for you, and it's free. It has bleed driving, which if you don't know, the bleed is the space between universes, and he is able to traverse it effectively on his own. All the unique properties of it is there for him to use. It's kind of like an instantaneous teleportation system because he can jump into the bleed and out of it anytime he wants. And the bleed is used for him to go to different dimensions and places that he would not normally be able to go through. And it's not even that energy consuming because that's a big feat, as you know, and he could do it rapidly 3 times in a row in quick succession. So he's out of there like Nightcrawler. On top of that, he has a cool energy bubble that not only protects him from outside attacks, anybody who's in it can't get out of it. You cannot leave. The Flash himself has tried to vibrate out of it and it blasted him back. To add on to this adaptability, there's an even weirder thing called antagonist adaptation. So if he's fighting against a Kryptonian, he's able to develop kryptonite radiation. If he's fighting against a Green Lantern, he can develop blasts that can penetrate through their shields. And while this won't really be a problem for experienced Green Lanterns, you will be able to foderize a lot of the new and upcoming ones just like that. If you're fighting against magical opponents, it has anti-magic weaponry. The Scarab itself is so arrogant that it actually believes that it has countermeasures to fight against the Spectre. Not only is that crazy, the way the Scarab has been speaking, it actually makes you feel like it could do it. And finally, for the last esoteric ability that it has something called a vibrational frequency manipulation ability. And what this does is that if there's anybody around you that is out of sync, it will get them and bring them back into the main reality. You are not escaping from this butt whooping. In the words of the great Scorpion, get over here, bro. You're not running away. And he could also make himself out of phase so that he is now invisible and intangible to everything. He is literally in creative mode and you can't touch him. But the problem with it is that it is a double-edged sword. It felt like it was only a few minutes when he went out of phase, and when he came back into phase, it's been multiple hours. If not hours, it was a day or two, which is actually diabolical. I am not touching that button anytime soon. And on top of that, in recent years, DC has been pushing Blue Beetle into a more tokusatsu Power Rangers Kamen Rider type of area, so if you're familiar with any of that, you know what I'm going to say next. There are different colors of the Blue Beetle Scarab, and they all have their different abilities. There is the yellow golden Scarab, and what this does is that it makes you a brawler, right? You have superhuman strength and durability on par with characters like Shazam and Superman, but you will have less of the normal Scarab abilities. Then there is the green Scarab, which we don't know much about it, but it has a very tendrily-like appearance, and it's able to manipulate those tendrils while also being able to change their size and become a giant. And then there is the Blood Scarab, which unlike all the others, is more magic dependent than technological. So if magic is your body, this is going to be the one to pick. But yeah guys, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, turn on post notifications so you know when a new video goes live, and remember to leave down below what is your favorite weapon in superhero fiction. It doesn't have to be Marvel or DC Image, it could be anything. Let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, see you all later, take care, deuces.